Assuming that you've all heard of the streaming service Netflix, I'm just going to jump straight into the story. I don't use the service much anymore, and for a pretty good reason. You see, I live in the UK, and there's nothing much to watch on in the UK Netflix in terms of TV shows in comparison to the Canadian or US Netflix. I found out that there was a way to access Netflix in countries by typing a DNS code manually into your device. After a short time searching around, I came across a website that included hundreds of DNS codes that the user had uploaded for the Canadian and US Netflix. Jackpox. Jackpox. Pock. I thought to myself. Without a second in the world, I picked the first DNS code I saw, typed it into my Xbox settings. It didn't work. I tried the code after code and had no luck. What's the point of a website like this existing and none of the codes work? I kept thinking. I kept scrolling down and searching for the site for codes, then diverting my eyes and hands to the Xbox to type in the code with no luck. Until eventually I came across a code on the seventh page of the site. It was right at the bottom and was uploaded anonymously. Having already been searching for nearly 20 minutes and about to give up, I decided it would be my final attempt before I called it quits. I typed in the code, and to my surprise, it worked. My Xbox restarted, and had no less than 2 minutes later, I was browsing the US Netflix. All the shows and movies I had been dying to watch on Netflix finally available to me. The next day, after a hard day of working, I came home and the only thing I wanted to do was sit down and watch some Netflix. I turned on my Xbox and opened up Netflix and sat down. As I scrolled down to my watch list to finish off season 2 of Breaking Bad, I saw there was something else in my recently viewed list, something I don't remember watching. The title of it was 6233564242, and the image was just a red rectangle, as the supposed of a still of a show or movie or like other stuff on Netflix. Curious as to what it was, I did something that I will never stop regretting. I hovered over it and tapped the A button on my controller. At first, it was just a colored red covering the screen before the image of Baphomet's head began to fade into the center of the screen. It got bigger and bigger, till I jumped out of my seat as a large screeching noise blared out of my speakers, and the images of mutilated bodies, animals being tortured, and people being abused flashed across the screen. This went on for 30 seconds, and the sound of screaming got more and more intense than darkness. My Xbox turned off, and as did all the lights and the electricity in my house. I sat there in the darkness, hauntingly dwelling on what I had just witnessed. I began to sob and try to hold because the vomit I could feel in my esophagus. After managing to pull myself together and stop the tears, I weakly stood up, venturing downstairs to my electronic cupboard. I managed to turn the power back on and ran upstairs to my Xbox. The Netflix app had been deleted from my hard drive. I later discovered that my DNS code had been switched back to automatic. I had no idea what the hell was happened and how it happened. The worst thing was, there was nobody there to witness my ordeal. Who would believe in something like this? I know for sure I wouldn't. I searched for the website. I got the DNS code to report it and speak to a moderator, but it was gone. I searched Google, Bing, and even good old Yahoo. There was nothing. I looked for hours, but it had disappeared. The site is gone. I decided to thought it was a good idea to write down the horrible episode that in the actual Netflix Flex forums. So I made an account hastily and made a thread asking people if they had experienced anything similar to what I had when entering a manual DNS, without detailing everything I had saw in the video. I refreshed the page to see if anyone had replied, only to get an error 404 saying that the page didn't exist. The thread had been deleted within a few minutes. This was all unsettling, but not as unsettling as the main thing. The main thing was send shivers down my spine. Something I looked at and it took me weeks after experience to realize. The title of the show was 62335644242, and it was my IP address.